Alright, he's a little bit forward and down on this right side. He's a little bit high up on the crest here. I could go behind, and one of the things that I could look at is the posterior superior. So you know those dimples that people have right on their tailbone? Those are the posterior part of the pelvis, and it sits right where the sacrum attaches to the pelvis on either side. And so again, you go underneath, go right up to those, and it should be fairly consistent. So if he's low in front, he should be a little high and back, and that would be consistent again. And all we do is we keep sort of checking to make sure things are consistent. When it isn't consistent, then you got to think, okay, what's going on here? It's not sort of a malalignment issue. Maybe he just has a little bit of an anomaly, and that's not what I'm looking for. So that's just a real quick assessment of that pelvis. I would go at the trochanter, the little bone on the side here from your hip. I would just get a sense, okay, is that fairly level? If one side is noticeably up, he could have a leg length discrepancy on one side. So I'll go here. I go down to the knee joint, and basically you're feeling for the joint line. There's a little gap in between the tibia and the femur. So right in here. And I get a sense, okay, is that pretty symmetrical? You can also go to the tibial tuberosity, but the problem is if we have Osgood-Schlatter's, which commonly happens, it's just sort of a calcification at the tibial tuberosity. You get this in a lot of kids who are very athletic because their muscles are developing faster than their bones. The body tries to anchor that muscle down by laying down more calcification, and it's a real inflammatory process. Very, very common in early adolescence, very painful, but the best way to work on that is work on flexibility and graduated strengthening, and it will calm down and kids do fine, but they're left with this real big lump here. So again, you can't go by bony anomalies or anything, but again, you're just trying to get a sense of symmetry, and then you go down to the ankle bones, the malleolus, okay, medial, lateral, look at those, and then we would take a look at that pronation, and you would have to do that with the shoes off like we talked about. See how much he's sort of rolling in, see how much he's rolling out. We talked about that physis line last week where you have the medial malleolus, you have the navicular tubercle, so those bony landmarks here should be right in line with the toe, the base of the big toe, and that should form a line. If that's dropping down more than a centimeter from that line, he's got excessive pronation that needs to be dealt with primarily through orthotics. So that gives you a sense of some of the things that we would look at in standing. You also get a sense, okay, is he not only sort of knock-kneed, but does he stand so that his kneecaps look like they're squinting towards each other? Call that squinting patella, and you see that very often with a lot of girls, adolescent girls. They stand there and their kneecaps are sort of facing like this with them just standing. For them to get them straight, they practically have to roll onto the outside of their feet. So what's happening is they're getting so much internal femoral rotation, their glutes aren't doing anything. So a lot of the stabilizers, those obturators, the gemelli, the piriformis, even the glute med min are just really inhibited. They're not doing anything at all. Very, very weak, and those are some of the kids that you guys can do some great work with. Okay, if we're looking at, I'm just trying to figure out, let's look, go ahead and lie down right on here. Come back. Yep, head up this end. Let's put it off to the side so it's not in the hole. It'll fall off. Alright, typically what we're going to look at is, again, we noted that he was a little bit high on the right side, had a little bit of rotation. So what I would do is just get him to relax a little bit. Usually people lay down and they're just like rigid. Just let him relax those legs. And again, you're getting a sense of how much he rolls out. If he's really rolled out on one side and the other side's like this, you're getting a sense that he's going to have a lot of tightness up in that hip. So again, even though it doesn't relate to a specific test, you're getting an idea just filing some of these things away to make sure that they're consistent with what the complaints are or the injury that they came in with. Also grab those under the ankle bones again and get a sense, okay, he's pretty even in the leg length, so there isn't a leg length problem, but when he was standing, there was a lot of asymmetry. And what that tells you is there's a real muscular imbalance going on. Because here, muscles are on slack, whereas when he's standing, muscles have to work to keep him upright, so something's pulling him out of whack a little bit. I can go up here, look at the same thing, and again, he's pretty level now, so we don't see the same things that we saw in standing. And that typically means that it has to be some sort of muscular situation. The skeleton hasn't changed, the muscles, what they're doing has a little bit. Okay, you get a sense. This side, you can see he has a little bit of space under his knee, whereas this side has a little bit of space. Okay, he has a little bit of stiffness in here. He doesn't terminally extend. You get some of these girls that can have about 10-15 degrees of hyperextension. Normally we have about 3 degrees of hyperextension. He's just a little bit stiff here.